And down here, an axis for wealth, income per person, $400, $4,000, and $40,000. So down here is poor and sick, and up here is rich and healthy. Now, I'm going to show you the world 200 years ago, in 1810. Here come all the countries. Europe brown, Asia red, Middle East green, Africa south of Sahara blue, and the Americas yellow. And the size of the country bubbles show the size of the population. And in 1810, it was pretty crowded down there, wasn't it? All countries were sick and poor. Life expectancy were below 40 in all countries. And only UK and the Netherlands were slightly better off, but not much. And now, why start the world? The Industrial Revolution makes countries in Europe and elsewhere move away from the rest. But the colonized countries in Asia and Africa, they are stuck down there. And eventually, the Western countries get healthier and healthier. And now, we slow down to show the impact of the First World War and the Spanish flu epidemic. What a catastrophe! And now I speed up through the 1920s and the 1930s. And in spite of the Great Depression, Western countries forge on towards greater wealth and health. Japan and some others try to follow, but most countries stay down here. Now, after the tragedies of the Second World War, we stop a bit to look at the world in 1948. 1948 was a great year. The war was over, Sweden topped the medal table at the Winter Olympics, and I was born. But the differences between the countries of the world was wider than ever. The United States was in the front, Japan was catching up. Brazil was way behind, Iran was getting a little richer from oil, but still had short lives. And the Asian giants, China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Indonesia, they were still poor and sick down here. But look what is about to happen. Here we go again. In my lifetime, former colonies gained independence, and then finally they started to get healthier and healthier and healthier. And in the 1970s, then countries in Asia and Latin America started to catch up with the Western countries. They became the emerging economies. Some in Africa follows. Some Africans were stuck in civil war and others hit by HIV. And now we can see the world today in the most up-to-date statistics. Most people today live in the middle, but there are huge differences at the same time between the best of countries and the worst of countries. And there are also huge inequalities within countries. These bubbles show country averages, but I can split them. Take China, I can split it into provinces. There goes Shanghai. It has the same wealth and health as Italy today. And there is the poor inland province Guizhou. It is like Pakistan. And if I split it further, the rural parts are like Ghana in Africa.
And yet, despite the enormous disparities today, we have seen 200 years of remarkable progress. That huge historical gap between the West and the rest is now closing. We have become an entirely new converging world. And I see a clear trend into the future. With aid, trade, green technology and peace, it's fully possible that everyone can make it to the healthy, wealthy corner.
Well, what you just seen in the last few minutes is a story of 200 countries shown over 200 years and beyond. It involved plotting of 120,000 numbers. Pretty neat, huh?
Okay, I think that's pretty neat. I think that's pretty good. What we have, why I talked about Gapminder, which you can find on the website. You can see that video. There are loads of other videos. There's wonderful stuff on there. What we're looking at is how, particularly in higher education, we use a lot of research, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of statistics gathered from all over the world. Sounds very boring, but we can put it together into stories. We can put it together to help us understand the complexity of what's happened over the last 200 years. So some good stuff that we can use in higher education to try and help us make contact with the world. But of course, we also assess you at universities. And in a way we are using assessments, something like that. all those things over there. Exams, games, simulations, presentations, vivas, you name it. We're using all sorts of different assessments, and in a way, we're using assessments to help you learn. It may not feel like that at the time, but the point is that if we assess it, we know that you'll make some effort to get your head around it, and it will be really important to you. So the best time for me to speak to any business student is immediately after an exam or an assessment, because there's so much in their heads, we can have a really cool conversation. It is superb. Okay, so we do that. What else do we do? Which of the things that we do for assessment do you believe is the best for learning? I'd really like to hear that, so I'd like you to poll again, please. I'm just about to put the poll on the screen. There you go. Coming in now. Can you read the numbers all right? So which do you think of those assessments would be best to prepare you for the workplace, please? Same texting or tweeting? And all you have to do this time is a number. Tell me when everybody's clocked the number, and we'll go to the live chart. Anybody texting? Anybody tweeting? Yes, thank you. Excellent, thank you very much. I've got 5 results. I want a few more, please. Lovely. 10 results in. Come on, more than 10 in the room. A bit more, please. Any more coming through? Oh, and I wanted 50 answers. Do we not have 50 mobiles in the room? Okay, about 31. That's getting a bit better. A few more. 32. Last essays have got a vote. That's nice. 33. A few more. Coming through. Okay, put your hand up if you're still texting or you don't think it's come through yet. Right, we've probably finished there. So we've got 35 results. Thank you very much for that. Right, this looks interesting. What do we make of this? Presentations. Oh, we've got a bit more coming in. Thank you. Are we neck and neck? Yes, we're neck and neck. Exams and presentations. That's really reassuring. That's great. Why do you think exams are good for learning for the workplace? Any ideas? Too late at night to get audience participation. That's why I needed to do the polling. Okay. I'd be interested to explore that a little bit further with you at some point. That would be really interesting. I do think that exams are great at forcing you to revise and getting your head around some of the logical concepts that we're talking about at university. I do think presentations are making you more work ready. The more presentations you do, the better you get. The Brighton students have a very strong reputation on presentations in the workplace. And then down here we've got business simulations and group work. We've actually got 16% on both of those. It's certainly true that business simulations can really help you. Oh, somebody's liked them even more. Jolly good, they're now up with presentations and exams. You've just noticed that one, yeah? Okay, that's great. Group work is actually how you do most of your work at work. Group work is actually how you're doing most of the learning around projects, around tasks, around events, around departments, business units. There's going to be a heck of a lot of group work in there. But I can totally accept that sometimes group work is a bit of a pain at university. It's not always easy to do. It is something we have to assess, ready for work.
Sorry, so
yeah?
Is there, so which of these are you saying is the best in your opinion?
What are the best in my opinion would be group work and presentations. From what I just said, because I think most of your learning at work is going to be done in groups rather than purely by yourself. And I think most of the learning that will come to you will be in some sort of presentation format. That may be online, that may be face-to-face. So learning that skill is going to help you train others. Yeah. But I agree the business, I mean, I advocate business simulations. I think they're very good too. I'm not a huge advocate of exams, but I appreciate that there's a lot of convenience in the way exams work. Okay, let's get full screen on here again. So thank you for that. What we're about in getting ready to contribute to the workplace is about improving literacy, not just being able to read, obviously, but digital literacy, numeracy, and also how we communicate with others. All about participation, according to Andy Carvin, the ability to critically consume. Sorry about the split infinitive. Those of you who studied English before you came here should be to consume critically, but this is what he said. Critically is important. That's one of the major things we're doing here at university, and I'm sure other people have told you that. We want to create knowledge, we want to construct knowledge, but we also sometimes need to unlearn things. Sometimes unlearn the habits that we've got. Sometimes unlearn the way we do things in terms of time management. Sometimes unlearn some of the prejudices we come with. That's quite a challenge. That's quite a challenge. We need a lot of help. So, in universities, the package for learning is quite complex. It's quite a rich mixture. It's quite a rich mixture of stuff. But let's just compare this to what actually happens in the workplace. What do workplaces use then for learning? Well, they still use training courses. I've been delivering training courses in organisations since the it feels like, certainly since the 70s and 80s in particular, and this is something I do in my business. And it saddens me, it really saddens me, that even last week I was asked to go and run a course on equality and diversity in the workplace. And the expectation was that I could do 2 hours over lunchtime. People wouldn't spend much time about it. Come and deliver, Sue. Just come and deliver. And that's what they thought learning was. Now, as a business, I have to be careful with my client relationships, don't I? I can't say, don't be silly, you stupid people. That isn't the way they're going to learn about equality and diversity. So I've got to make it as interesting as I can, as participative as I can, and try and grab their attention sufficiently to make some sort of impact. But it's not really the way people learn. Being told stuff in a classroom, it's not really the way people learn. It's a necessary part of the process. But the learning is going to go on in here and in debate. Sorry, I'm just going to go back a moment. There we go, that's the one I was looking for. Increasingly in companies, instead of doing training courses, what they're doing is commissioning e-learning. Now, a lot of my reputation seems to be built on e-learning, but it's not this kind of e-learning. This kind of e-learning is a package. It comes in a digital file, and it will give you neat little videos, and it will give you scenarios, and then it will give you little questions. Remember self-review questions in the textbook? It's exactly the same thing. So this is kind of textbook learning online. Now, I'm very prejudiced about this, so you could be forgiven for thinking Sue Green has gone off on one here. But I do think that e-learning in this kind of format, which companies have embraced, they've embraced it because it's cheaper than a trainer. It's cheaper than booking a room and getting everyone together for a training course. But it's substituting like for like, in a sense. It doesn't seem to me to be much about learning, more about tick-box. There's something that you could debate at your leisure, or indeed research in your dissertation at some point. Of course, businesses actually learn through Google. Just like you, they tap a word in to find out the answer. They use Wikipedia, they use Google. That's how they learn. Now, they do complex things, sophisticated things, like client relationship management systems, operational projects. They'll do web analytics about their website. They'll do intranet policies and learning perspectives. They'll do knowledge sharing systems. Notice there's rather a focus on technology in all this. They'll be doing this as well as e-learning, as well as the occasional training.